Once again, I'd like to say good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
All right, that's so much better. All right. Amen. Once again, I'd like to welcome each and every one of you here tonight to our Board of Commissioners Town Hall meeting. At this time, I will ask everyone if you would turn off your cell phones or if you will place them on silent. All cell phones turn off or placed on silent. I now call this meeting of the Bethel Board of Commissioners to order. The time is 6:02. The date is Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. At this time, we'll have a roll call. Commissioner Conger.
Here.
Commissioner Lilly.
Here.
Mayor Pro Temp Griggs.
Here.
Commissioner Whitehurst.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
We do have a quorum. At this time, I would like for the Board of Commissioners to look at the agenda to see if there is anything unethical or immoral on the agenda. Okay. At this time, do I have a motion to approve the proposed agenda?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Lilly. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Temp Griggs. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor, let it be known by your voting sign by raising your right hand. Okay. Any opposed? Motion carried unanimous. At this time, I will ask if all those that can and will, we're going to ask Commissioner Griggs that she'll lead us in the invocation.
Let's bow our heads. Father, in the name of Jesus, we want to thank you for this day, a day that we've never seen. We thank you for bringing us together to do the business of this town. We ask that we carry out this business as men do, in order, decent and in order, and bless this town. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
We're going to ask all those that can and will. We're going to ask Mr. Conger if he'll lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Once again, I'd like to say good evening to everyone. Thank you for coming out on tonight. At this time, we'll go to our public comments. Well, let me back up. Do I have a motion to approve our consent agenda from the minutes from our regular monthly meeting from March the 3rd, 2026?
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Conger. Is there any discussion? Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Commissioner Lilly. Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor, let it be known by your voting sign by raising your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carried. Minutes approved as written. Next on the agenda is for our public comments, and I think we have one person that signed up at this time, Ms. Trish Worcott, if you would come forward. And we ask that you state your name and give us your address. Yes, ma'am.
All right, yes, sir. I'm Trisha Worka. I live on Railroad Street in Bethel, and I am here to address the board tonight as a concerned resident of the town and being aware of what's going on at a national and global level. I wanted to express my concerns to make sure you guys are aware and prepared to take lead or charge, I guess is a word I'm looking for, to help mitigate whatever is coming our way, because we are looking at looming oil shortages, petroleum shortages by April 15th. I have heard. We are looking at, like I just mentioned to the mayor, our president threatening to obliterate another country off the map. In 2-ish hours, he's threatening that. And if we still have a town in a month, I wasn't going to speak tonight, you guys. I didn't have a lot to say until that all started happening. And I'm really worried we might not even have a town in a month at the rate our, larger leaders are going. But if we do, we're going to need to come together. And I'm here again to say that, like I said, in January, I'm saying it again, because we need to know who is running low on gas, who doesn't have electricity, who can't pay their gas bill, who can't pay their electric bill, who can't get into town for groceries, who doesn't have money for groceries, who can help watch their kids so other people can work. We really need to be collaborating on these things now. One of the things I know another town in the state is doing, just in terms of ways we can take care of each other on a broader level, is Durham is actually giving, I think, small grants to help homeowners that have enough land provide alternate dwelling units. So they're like micro homes for to help with lowering rent and looming housing crises. So they're offering these loans to help homeowners get smaller homes on their homes if they do smaller rents. I am struggling with my words tonight, you guys, but those are things that larger city is doing to help mitigate the harm that is coming to their citizens. That is something we could look at doing, because I know that housing costs are a big concern here. We've had people come before the board wanting to provide housing, and they've put the word affordable in front of it, but they've not expressed how they're going to make it affordable. And Durham is looking at how they can actually do that and make it possible for their residents. And I think that's something we as a city, y'all as a board, could look at. I do know that. I know we have a wonderful community garden in the community. And that is something we really need to be looking at, leaning on, and enhancing, and bringing more people into an awareness of. Because hunger, I don't know how many people in this room have ever gone hungry. I have. Food insecurity is a real thing, and hungry people are dangerous people. You will do a lot to get food. You will do a lot to not feel that pain in your stomach. And if you've not lived that life, I am so thankful for you. But if you have, you will go through a lot to make sure other people don't go through it. And I think that is why I show up, because I don't want my community to go hungry. And I am asking you guys, as our leaders, to help keep us all from going hungry, from us all going cold, and help us all take care of each other. Thank you for your time. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Workout. At this time, we'll focus our attention on item G, presentation, the Bethel Resource Community Center. Chairman, if you state your name and give us your address.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Jim Conger. I live at 152 West Washington Street here in Bethel. Thanks for having me. Basically, this evening, all I want to do is give y'all a little bit of information about some changes that have happened with our organization. Previously, we were operating as the Bethel Advocacy Committee. That was an umbrella committee under the Northern Pitt County Improvement Association. Recent months, we kind of felt like their vision really didn't align with ours. Their vision is great, but our focus is our community, Bethel and surrounding areas. So what we did is we've rebranded. We did a formal resolution for separation on February 11th, and we've rebranded as the Bethel Community Resource Center. We're doing our own 501c nonprofit. That's in the process. We've got our federal tax ID number. Everything is in the works. Essentially, with our mission, nothing is changing. Our community garden is still going to be our big focus. We do programs on nutrition, heart health. You know, basically what we've been doing all along, we're going to continue doing. The biggest reason for the separation is we want our focus to be here in our community. And I just felt like, and Mayor Pro Tem Griggs felt like it would be a good idea for us to just be open with everybody on the board and the town government, so you know exactly where we are and where we're coming from with this change. Essentially, that's all I came to express, and if y'all have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Is there any question for Mr. Conger from the board? Okay, is there no question? Thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Next will be item H, old business, professional services agreement amendment, stormwater utility rate study.
Thank you, Mayor.
Turn it over to the manager.
This isn't a follow-up item from your March 3rd meeting. At that meeting, you heard a presentation from Rivers Associates to conduct a stormwater utility rate study that will allow the board to consider putting a stormwater fee, assessing it on property within the town. You approved this study at that March 3rd meeting, but what you actually have now is a contract amendment with Rivers and Associates. This is a contract amendment to the original work on the stormwater study, so I'm just looking for the board's formal approval for this amendment.
All right, you've heard the recommendation from the manager. At this time, do I have a motion to approve the amendment of the professional services agreement with Rivers and Associates to conduct stormwater utility rate study?
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Griggs. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Conger. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor, let it be known by your voting sign by raising your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carried. All right. We're gonna let the manager stay right there.
Okay, your second item is the concerns the Code of Ethics for the Town Board of Commissioners. As we discussed back on March the 3rd, the town, through the Essentials of Government training, came to the realization that we do need to have a code of ethics per state statute. We have used a code modeled after one used by the city of Clinton here in North Carolina. And I knew when I had kind of prepared this, or maybe a better word is copied it, that as Commissioner Ellis Jones pointed out, Section 5 didn't seem to flow completely. So I contacted the city and asked them to send me a copy of their, what I took was off the website, asked them to send me a copy of their policy that were on the books per se, and when comparing it from what was on the website, there was some missing language, and you have that in highlighted in yellow in your packet. Primarily they're in Section 5, and then there are a couple of footnotes. This is a pretty comprehensive document. I'm not necessarily in any hurry for you to adopt it. If you're ready to adopt it, if you want to go through it in more detail, I'd be happy to do that, or take any questions. This is just before you for maybe a second reading, and I would entertain any questions or insight you may have.
What does a censure mean?
Basically, if a board member was deemed to be acting inappropriate, there's a procedure in Section 5 where the board could censor a fellow board member, other than basically I'm going to use the word public hand slap. There's nothing legally you can do, as I understand, to another board member.
If I could, just to add to what the town manager is saying, and he's exactly right. It's just an admonition. You don't have the authority to remove anybody. Arguably you do, but that would be an extending set of circumstances. This is just where if you feel that someone has violated your code of ethics, there's a hearing. It's a pretty formal process you go through. It's not just a quick vote. And if you go through that process and decide that by vote, and I think it's a two-thirds it's a two-thirds vote, that you find they have violated, it's just the board saying, we think you violate our code of ethics and we ask you not to do it in the future. And so it's no public, you have no overriding authority to place a penalty or a fine or anything like that. It's just your opinion.
And to add to that, you very rarely see this used. It does happen on occasion, but it's very, very rare.
That is that's correct. When it does happen, even in you'll read it all over North Carolina because it's so rare that it takes place. One thing that the town manager and I've spoken a number of times about the proposal, but something I just thought about sitting here, Scott. Is the recommendation that this be adopted as a policy? It's not an ordinance. It would be sort of like in the nature of a policy.
Yes, that's fine.
That would be my recommendation too. It's not part of your ordinance. It's a policy, and you can change it as time goes by.
So if a motion were to be made, it would be to adopt the Code of Ethics as a policy for the town of Bethel. if you were to so consider that.
Okay, you've heard the explanation of the manager. Do we have a motion to adopt the draft code of ethics as a revised copy as a policy?
Motion here.
Motion made by Commissioner Whitehurst. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lilly. Is there any further discussion? If there's no further discussion, all in favor, let it be known by your voting sign by raising your right hand. Okay. Any opposed? Motion carried unanimous. All right. Next, to claim our attention is new business, and we have some amendments to the Bethel Code of Ordinance, Chapter 151, Planning.
So Mayor, board members, let me start this conversation by saying, as you're aware, you have a Code of Ordinances book that is several hundred pages long with lots of different chapters and codes. We're under contract right now with the Mideast Commission to update that book. We actually received our second comprehensive draft, I believe it was last week. And that draft, by the time Keenan and I, the town attorney and I get done with it, and then bring it back to you, hopefully to review it with you, we will be able to go through it chapter by chapter by chapter. You currently have before you Chapter 151, which is one chapter out of that book that we're asking you to consider revising and to change your planning board formation from being you as the town board to an independent board, which is actually required by state statute. Technically, the new statutes that are referenced is 160D-301, which takes place of the previously stated statutes that you currently see on your books. Keenan and I chose to reference Chapter 160D-301 in this document, but at the same time, until we get the new Code of Ordinances with the new Chapter 151 before you as well, to kind of ride this one out until we bring that to you. So what you have here is a revision of Chapter 151, basically taking what the Code of Ordinances called for a 9-member planning board down to a 7-member board. Basically, you'd have 5 town board members, 2 ETJ. ETJ is your extraterritorial jurisdiction. It's normally a 1-mile loop around the town. The town has the powers of zoning, subdivision, and help me, Keen, is it building inspection? I think it's building inspection are the 3 powers. Zoning, subdivision, and building inspection.
Right, right.
Obviously, building inspection, we contract with Pitt County for that. So with this, these minor changes have been made. If you are in agreement to this change, what I would recommend is that you adopt this formally. I would like to suggest that in terms of accepting applicants to be on the Bethel Planning Board, that you allow us to put this out for 30 days, have folks fill out a simple application, we bring those back to you, let you purview them, and decide out of the pool of applicants who you would like to be on the planning board. I do need to say one caveat on the 2 ETJ members. State statute requires that the Pitt County Board of Commissioners actually appoint any ETJ member. You can suggest, right, you can have the mayor, could have the mayor write a letter saying John Doe and Jim Smith are the 2 people that you're, for example, that you're recommending. Then 9 times out of 10, they'd go with that and appoint them. But so, first step would be to consider adopting the revised language, knowing that this is going to change again when we bring back the full Code of Ordinances. And then second step would be to allow us to post and advertise on the website, Facebook page, that we're accepting applications for planning board membership to the Bethel Planning Board, and we'll bring that back to you for consideration for making formal appointments.
How would somebody apply, sir?
Pardon me?
How would somebody apply? What does an application look like?
Basically, a simple name, address, occupation, a statement of desire, your experience, what you could bring to the planning board. I can't remember, Linda, did we draft I thought we had drafted a draft application for it. Okay.
So there'll be, if there's a draft application, it would be sitting right there, someone could come in
Yes, you could come
and fill
to
it.
town hall.
Yeah.
If they were to call us, we could email it to them, or email, or
Yes.
in person.
Okay.
Try to keep it a simple process. We're not asking them to fill out a 10-page application.
If I, another question, so Edgecombe County is not within our 1 mile at all. I see that Edgecombe County was not included.
Right. In your original ordinance, the language was really kind of odd because it talked about Edgecombe County, but yet I think it talked about the town of Pittsboro or something at appointing. The language didn't even make sense that was in there. But we took that out, just thinking that technically this is Pitt County. We thinking that you had 2 ETJ members, that the 2 of them would represent those areas here in Pitt County. More than likely, you're going to, when Bethel grows, it's probably going to grow south or east, probably not so much west, at least in the immediate future. And before you have a copy of the again, this is what Linda and Jaleesa put together. Again, has in terms of the name, address, phone number, email. First statement is, why are you interested in serving on the Town of Bethel Planning Board? And second, do you have special skills, experience, or background which would assist you in working on this board? And then what is your professional and educational background? So it's all contained on one page. You could attach anything you want to this as well. We also ask, are you a resident of the city, yes or no, number of years? Are you a business owner in the city, yes or no, and number of years? So it kind of gives you an idea of what their basic background is.
Okay, the follow-up I had about the Edgecombe County, so is it that there is no Edgecombe County within our 1 mile ETJ?
I do not believe, I'm not sure on that.
I was sitting here thinking the same thing. As I sit here right now, I do not believe our ETJ 1 mile crosses the county line into Edgecombe County.
Yeah, I don't believe it does either.
Okay.
Yeah, and if it were
If it does,
to,
then we have to include them, right?
two things. If it were to, I think we would have, at some point in time, had to have gotten permission. There had to be some coordination between us and Edgecombe County for us to be, because our zoning ordinance could be significantly different than theirs. So there would have to be some coordination. I mean, I've been your attorney for a little while now, and I'm not aware of any, but I stand to be corrected on it. But yes, sir, if our ETJ goes into Edgecombe County, we had to work something out for representation of those. It would be part of the 2. Right now, you have 2 members on the planning board from the ETJ, and there would have to be some consideration. And you got 2 different county commissioner groups that you have to work through, and probably have to look and see population in one and population in the other, so that it's fair. I think we could probably get a copy of our ETJ and just see if it ventures across into Edgecombe County. The only other thing I wanted to mention, everything Scott said earlier was exactly correct about where we are now in the 160D coming online. But even though we haven't crossed this bridge yet, my educated guess would be what you're doing today, if you approve it today, to go to 5 members in town and 2 from the ETJ. The next time this comes back to you, 160, it'll be the same. The same system. We would use the same. It would make any sense to change it. So basically, if you appoint some people in the next 2 months, we would just carry those people over once we go through the 160D.
And that's also, I did notice, sorry I didn't get a chance to mention this today, in section 15105F, because I know everywhere else we changed council to board, so we make that correction.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, are there any other questions?
We'll verify, like the town attorney said, the Edgecombe County ETJ. Out of all the documents I've seen with the town's comprehensive land use plan, which is used as the basis of making zoning decisions, that was prepared by the Wooten Company 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I think that answers.
I do not recall seeing, so this is showing, I guess the tax parcels
It's a little corner.
on the top left-hand corner would be Pitt County tax parcels. So yeah, basically that line is showing that there's a very small portion that adjoins Edgecombe County that doesn't go out of Pitt County. So based upon that, I'd be 98% sure that it does not
That
go into
was,
Edgecombe County.
that was, from looking at this one picture, would be my opinion too. We don't venture into Martin County nor Edgecombe County. We can do some more checking just to make sure, but I'd be willing to bet this is correct.
So obviously, everything in green is the ETJ. In the center of the map, the kind of purplish color is the town limits.
Okay.
But we'll verify that, but I'm almost absolutely sure that it does not.
Okay, are there any other questions?
I had a question. What about budget? Have we put any thoughts? I mean, I just know that they will have to be placed into the budget, correct? At some point. I just know that this thing talks about like studies and all this kind of stuff, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah. I think this chapter 151 was designed more for a growing municipality the size of Winterville or larger. Obviously, and this talked about making recommendations on budget and so forth.
Right.
And making a semi-annual or annual presentation before the board. That is really a staff function to do budget. It wouldn't be up to the planning board. Planning board would be there to make recommendations to you as the Board of Town Commissioners about rezonings, special use permits, any changes to text amendments to the zoning ordinance language. Keen, help me here. Think of anything else?
Yeah, I a couple things, and this dovetails in with the application that Linda Jalisa gave y'all to look at tonight. Usually, not always, it's not mandated, but a lot of times you'll find on your planning board, you'll get people with some specialized background. They'll either plan in, or they might be developers or people that have a lot of not just interest but personal experience with the concept of planning, and that's why I think you see a lot of these ordinances say, well, you know, we might give you some authority to do some special studies because they have special skills, but it doesn't automatically mean that you will. Winterville's language is very similar. We have a very active planning board in Winterville. We've been together for a long time. I'm not sure they've ever done a study. So you would control that. If you wanted them to do that, you would say, let's get them to do the initial legwork and then maybe bring it back. But I think what the town manager said is correct. You probably have your town staff to do that instead of them.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for the manager? Okay, at this time, do I have a motion to approve or adopt the amendment to the town's code of ordinance, chapter 151, planning, and also to post on the website?
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Conger. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Griggs. Any discussion? If there's no further discussion, all in favor, let it be known by your voting sign by raising your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next, to claim our attention will be our budget/financial matters. And we're gonna stay right here with the matter.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. It says there's 4 budget amendments, but there's actually 5. They're numbered 13 through 17. The first one is to move $2,000 from utilities in the administration budget to the library budget to cover some expenses there. Budget Amendment 14 moves 2,000 utilities from administration to tax collection fees. We have enough extra money in utilities to cover some tax collection fees that are over budget. Number 15 moves 2,000 from contingency to the governing board travel. Number 16 moves $40,000 from the fund balance to fund your stormwater utility rate study, that contract amendment you just approved. And the last one basically is the budget amendment number 17. It is just adjust the funding within the SCIF grant, which is the State Capital Infrastructure Grant, as it's been appropriated to all the different projects. If the board would like, you could, one motion could adopt all 5 of these together, or you could do them individually.
Okay. Give you a few minutes just to look this over. Okay, at this time, you've heard the recommendation of the manager. Do I have a motion to approve the budget amendments, number 13, which is the 2,000 from the utilities administration to utilities. Number 14, which moves 2,000 from utilities administration to tax collection. Number 15 moves 2,000 from the contingency to the governing board travel. And number 16 moves 40,000 from the fund balance to fund the stormwater utility rate. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, and number 17
The SCIF
is
grant.
the SCIF grant. Okay, motion made by Commissioner Whitehurst. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Conger. Is there any discussion? If there's no further discussion, all in favor, let it be known by your voting sign by raising your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Next to claim our attention would be our record retention schedule.
Mayor, I think we're going to hear from our town clerk on that.
Good afternoon to the board. You guys have signed a record retention schedule in the past. According to our general statutes in the North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources, it is required that the town approves the records that we no longer need and that are no longer necessary. You have to approve them to be destroyed, and we have a destruction log of all of the records that we no longer need at this time. We have a whole lot more boxes of records that we have to go through, but we have to go through them and record each date and what it is. So these are the ones that we've gone through so far, and it's about 15 boxes. So we just recommend that you guys approve that we destroy these documents in this log by shredding them, and we're going to use a shredding company to do those. Thank you.
Any question for the clerk? Okay.
If I can add to that, there's obviously some records that we can never destroy, but these are the records that we are allowed to destroy.
Okay, at this time, in reference to our record retention schedule, do I have a motion to approve properly destroying documents by shredding according to the submitted destruction log?
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Lilly. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Griggs. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor, let it be known by raising your voting sign by raising your right hand. Okay. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next to claim our attention will be our departmental reports. And we're going to start with our interim town manager.
Thank you, Mayor. So your first item is your financials for the month of February. So we are 8 out of 12 months into the fiscal year, or 75%. you'll see that we brought in 49% of our revenues, which is on track. Our sales tax revenue, always lags behind, and that catches up before the end of the year, before we close the books out. On the expenses, the totality of all of the departments and functional areas, we've spent 45% of the expenditures, and that's pretty good if we're 75% through the year, but we've only spent 45% of those expenditures. On your cash balance report, you will see where we have in the general fund checking account with Southern Bank, $310,624. We have monies in the grant, SCIF grant and the RTG cash. But these are in negatives because we haven't pulled these down from the state. The total cash balance is $3,297,752. And if I could get a motion to approve the financial report, that would be appreciated.
So moved.
You've heard the finance report by the manager, motion made by Commissioner Lilly. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Connor. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor by showing your voting sign by raising your right hand. Okay. Any opposed? Motion carried. All right.
All right. Actually, the first item was the public safety report for the month of February. You'll see there was the only reportable violent crime was one assault. Under property crimes, you only had one larceny. You've got the most common calls for service, traffic complaints 0, traffic stops 1, business checks 213, sex offender checks 0, welfare checks 0, alarms 2, warrant service 7, and ride-bys 9. And that's just a FYI. No action is needed.
Okay.
Your next board meeting will be Tuesday, May the 5th at 6 o'clock. Item D, on the pit stop project for the mural project on the front of the building as it faces Andrew Street. There'll be a stakeholders meeting on the mural project for the public to come to Town Hall this Friday, April 10th from 5:30 to 6:30. We're asking for anybody that has any ideas on what that mural should look like. The Pig County Arts Council is helping facilitate this process and actually administrate the process. We've received outside funding to do this from the new group Greenville, I think it's Greenville Invests, am I saying that correctly? As well as Arts Council itself to pay for an artist. We have 3 artists that have been vetted. I believe they put out an RFP process, request for proposal, actual qualifications. They had 30 different artists respond to this, which was phenomenal. They've never had that many, even in Greenville per se. A committee working on this whittled that down to 3. Those 3 will be here earlier in that afternoon to walk the site with town staff, the mayor, as well as Ms. Garriott. And then from 5:30 to 6:30, we'll meet back here at Town Hall. We're asking anybody to come that has any ideas as to what you would like to see painted on the front of that building in terms of a mural. And the ideas are as wide as A to Z on the alphabet in terms of concepts, and you should be able to see some of the work that these artists have done. They've done some really phenomenal murals, so we're hoping to get an excellent mural done. Just one note on item E, the upset bid process. We did have the bids on parcels 9216 and 29604 were upset. Somebody came in and upped the ante on them. We're in the process of, we'll be advertising those for the upset bid process, and we'll continue to do that until the bid process runs. Item F, asking the board to consider a special called meeting or a workshop. It actually have 2 purposes. One, for the first part of the meeting, would be a follow-up on the stormwater drainage discussion we had back on March 3rd with Rivers and Associates. They presented you 4 different options to finish the canal drainage work that was started in the past year. Need to figure out which of those 4 options the board wants to go with. Then the second thing would be to for me to be able to present to you the draft proposed budget for fiscal year 26-27. That is probably, I'd say, 95% complete at this point in time, but it'll have it totally complete by the time we get a month from now into, the date I'm proposing is you meet on Tuesday, May the 5th at 6 o'clock. I'm proposing, if the board's in agreement, to meeting a week later on Tuesday, May the 12th at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, evening. From there, if the board is agreeable with the budget that is presented, we would then have a public hearing on the budget. We'd do that at your regular meeting on June the 2nd as part of that regular meeting agenda. Does anybody know if they have any conflict with that May the 12th date by chance?
May the 12th. This time of day,
Pardon me?
about this time of day, right?
Yes, just at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Everybody in agreement, or? Okay. All right, other than that, other things I wanted to report on, I guess I'll wait until we get to Public Works.
Okay. Next, we're gonna ask the, Commissioner Lilly to put on his fire chief hat, and we hear from the fire department.
All right. Just to let you know, if you hadn't been to the fire department, the guys are just about finished with the bathrooms. Everything, the female bathroom is completed. The male bathroom, which is gonna be both, is just about through. They got the floor, they got the shower done, they got the vanity in, they put the, supposed to put the commode in today. Just got to do a little bit more, so hopefully everything will be done by the weekend, so make sure you stop by and take a look at that. For the call volume for March, we had 14 calls. Car fires, we'd had 1. Brush fires, we've had 3. Motor vehicle crashes, we've had 3. Structure fires, we've had 1. Assist EMS, we've had 2. Outside county fires, we've had 3. We had 1 CO2 alarm, and we had 376 hours of training this month, and that was mainly because we had a live burn that took us right good hours, plus going out and setting everything up, plus we had another good big size training, so that was a total on that. As far as the equipment, 2102, everything's okay. 2104, right now the 2105 is our tanker. It's got the cameras out. I did order the camera came in, we put it on. So now he's saying it's probably the monitor. So I've got a monitor ordered, but it has not come in yet. 2106 has a bad air leak, and I forgot to put on on your sheet, the window. I've got a window that will not roll up and roll down. So we're in the process of getting that taken care of, and 2109 is up to speed, so everything's good on that. And so other than that, we did do our hose testing the other weekend, so that is through. Did you see the bill on that?
Yes.
Okay. They will be coming back hopefully in a couple of weeks to do our pump testing that we got to have done, and we'll go from there. And then our yearly inspections, DOT inspections and oil changes and stuff, we'll do that July the 1st. So other than that.
Okay, any questions for fire chief? Okay, thank you. Next, we'll hear from our manager in reference to Public Works.
In terms of Public Works, the Public Works employees completed the cleanup of both the Pine Lawn and Bethel cemeteries in the month of March, and I've gotten both cemeteries looking good in that respect. We've heard from a number of residents. As the board recalls, probably 3 months ago, we posted notice on the town's website and Facebook page, and we did that several times actually, and then we actually then brought it before you for consideration, where you approved it, and that was televised on the TV, and we posted it in various places, Town Hall, I believe, the post office. So we tried to do our due diligence to get the word out. Obviously, not everybody's going to receive the word because you may not live in Greenville and have a loved one who is, buried in one of the 2 cemeteries. But we will continue as that time comes again, try to get the word out and post notice of that activity. But I think it is beneficial for both cemeteries. It makes makes the cemeteries look uniform and cleaner. There's been stuff out there that's been out there for years upon years. And also it makes it safer for the contractor mowing the cemeteries to do his work. Some of the plots had rocks all over the plots, little plastic fences, things that would make it very difficult for trying to keep the cemetery look uniform and clean and respectful. The other thing is at Smith Street Park, the playground installation is completed and is up and operational. That is just the first phase of the work on that. They will be putting in the exercise equipment, the benches, trash cans, as such in additional phases. We are still trying to nail down the paving of the trail. We'll probably bring that back next month in terms of a preferred contractor to do that work. We did get the playground equipment moved, the old playground equipment moved from Smith Street Park to the Field of Dreams. It's in place, but we're in the process of getting new borders around it and getting the playground mulch to be installed around it as well. Then the last thing I think about Field of Dreams, I know the mayor, Public Works worked on getting the electricity back functional in the park for the Easter event this past weekend, and also for any events that we have coming forward. So that's all I have.
Okay. Next, we're gonna hear from our town attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. I also, to dovetail in with what the town manager said regarding your Smith Street Park, you might recall over the last couple months, I've talked to you about the donation of the 3 tracks from a family to the Moore family to the town. The deed, I have prepared the deed for the donation of the land. I've sent it to the primary point of contact from the family, and she has approved the deed. It's a standard deed. However, because everybody's signature has to be notarized, I've asked that she send me all the owners' names as it is on their driver's license. And the email back from her said, we'll get you that right after Easter. As of this afternoon, we haven't gotten that. I'm sure we will shortly. Once I have that, we'll just plug the names in and then send out the deed for signature. I hope by next month to have the final document for your acceptance, and then we'll record it. But I feel like we're almost there. Subject to your questions, that's all I have. Thank you.
Question for our attorney from the board? Okay. Commissioner Conley, you have anything?
No, except I'm just happy to see everybody out here tonight.
Commissioner Lilly?
I'm good. Thank you for coming out. Hope you spread the word and get some more to come out next month.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Just glad to see everybody concerned and taking part and being present so you can hear what's going on.
Commissioner Whitehurst?
I have nothing, sir.
Commissioner Jones?
We're good. I enjoyed what I saw at the the Easter parade on
Oh, yeah.
this last Saturday.
Okay. Well, what I like to say is, once again, thank all of you for coming out and taking time out of your busy schedule to come and hear how the town is moving forward. I'd like to send out a special shout out to the Devontae Jones and his entire staff that put on the Easter parade. And we thank all the citizens and the vendors that came out to the Field of Dreams that came out and participated within the Easter parade. I think that's the first Easter parade that I know of that Bethel has ever had before. And we hopefully look forward to do it again to make it even bigger and better. And I'm quite sure there was at least close to 1,000 people that came out. And I'm very happy that it took place. We didn't have any incidents, and everybody just enjoyed. The children enjoyed, even the adults. I think they enjoyed just as much as the children did. And I was told that a lot of the vendors, they did very well on the things, the items that they were selling within the park and stuff. And also, as the manager was saying, that Smith Street Park is coming along real good. We got shelters that hope to be here real soon to be put up and everything. And we just ask the community to continue to work together and continue to give this board and myself as mayor your support. And as far as the mural, they asked me what I thought as far as the mural over there, and I asked them, I would like to see whatever put up as a mural, it reflects the past, the present, and the future of Bethel. Because we are growing and we are moving forward. And the only way we're gonna continue to grow and move forward is with the community's help. And it's not all, I say it again, it's not all about what I'm gonna do as mayor or what this board gonna do, but what we're gonna do as a community together. And we thank each and every one of you for coming out. And as the manager was talking about the cemetery, it's bad when you go out to the cemetery and your loved ones are being buried, and you hear the comments that the people make that how bad it looked. Not so much on the grass, but just the overall items and things that's out there. And all we're trying to do is trying to be respectful to you as well as your loved ones that have passed. And once again, I pray that you have a blessed rest of your week, and thank each and every one of you for coming. And we thank Deputy Conyers for being here with us on tonight. And if there's nothing else to claim our attention, do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion made by Commissioner Lilly. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Grigg. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Motion carried unanimous. Motion adjourned. Meeting adjourned. Thank y'all. Have a good night.
It's the easiest meeting we've had, I think. Better last month. Yeah. Yeah, last time was it? No, he probably just saw the agenda, talked about stormwater, he probably thought we were gonna. I met with him, after the last meeting, I met with him, told him the ball's in his court, he's gotta bring proof that
My granddaddy said